Ball coach announced about 2 weeks ago now, I believe is what it was, before chapel. I think it was 2 weeks ago.
March 6th,
Yeah.
whatever that was.
Yeah. Today's the 22nd, so a little over 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So, Coach, welcome to the show for the first time.
Hey, man, what a privilege.
You're in the limelight now as the head coach.
I love it. I love it.
So, Coach, tell us about that moment where you were asked to be the head coach or told, "Hey, you're gonna lead this program."
Right. Well, I had been in Marshall, and I was driving home to Longview, and Dr. Blackburn called me. I was almost on. I was at the intersection of 80 and 259, and he called me and said, "You were the guy," or "I was the guy," and almost had a wreck. Pulled out of it. Managed to maintain control of the car, and I scared an 18-wheeler off the side of the road, but we managed to survive that, and here I am.
Well, that's good to hear because we'd hate to have our head coach go right in the hospital as soon as he finds out.
That would have been ESPN worthy stuff.
Well, it's a good story to share with everybody how you found out like that.
Yeah. Great news though.
So, how excited are you to take over this program and keep moving it forward?
Well, extremely excited. I'd say 9.999 on a scale of 10. And I go into every situation understanding that every situation is not perfect, and we live in a real world. But I'm super excited, and it's been nothing but wonderful so far.
And you talked about a little bit when you were talking to the team that day, that and when we talked in the interview too, that you feel like God's placed all these things in your life for this one moment to be the head coach here. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, it's just been a journey. I'm coming up on my 43rd year to coach, and I've done everything from junior high ball all the way up to Division I and all things in between. And I just think that everywhere you've been, you learn. Right. Some things you learn what to do. Some things you learn what not to do.
Yeah.
And I think, after 43 years, I've learned a few things. Of course, as many things as I've learned, you get in that driver's seat, and all of a sudden you realize that there's a few things that you didn't learn. or maybe the situation is different at one school than it was at another school. So it's always a learning curve, but I just think that the Lord has a plan for all of our lives, and I think He has a way of kind of knitting things together, making it come true, and as long as you'll cooperate with Him, it can be a great ride.
Yeah, because that's the best part, because He knows what's best for you, and if you're on board with that, then it's only going to get even better.
Yeah.
So what's some of your favorite football moments you've had in your life since you've been kind of all over, coaching at all the different levels?
Starting back when I was a senior in high school, we won the district championship against the Pilot Point Bearcats. My last regular season game as a senior, won it 14-13, and they were better, but we won. If we'd have played 100 games, they'd have won 99 of them. That was our night. In college, I had a big moment my junior year against TCU. We lost the game, but I had a pretty good game against the Horned Frogs, and I remember when I was at McMurray, we beat UTSA.
Yeah.
That was their second game in their history of the school, and it was in the it was the Alamo Dome, 35,000 screaming fans, and that was a loud place. And we beat them 24-21 in the last 32 seconds. Kentucky, we beat Arkansas 31-20 one year when they were number 20 in the nation, and we were struggling a little bit, but won that game, and then won 3 more games on top of that to get us into the Music City Bowl in Nashville. Then the Hardin-Simmons game here in 2015 was one of the highlights. I mean, it was like, oh my gosh,
that was a fun game.
That was a fun game. The thing that I really, what I really remember about that game was the stands, the fans. We felt so much support from our fan base.
Right.
And I'm up in the box where it doesn't hit me like it does those guys
Right.
down the field, but we were feeling it up in the box, and I loved that day.
And they stayed through all the rain and
Right.
the mud and cheered.
Right. It was incredible.
It was one of those. That's one of my favorite games that I've had in my career. Just remembering watching it and seeing how it happened, and I still watch the video we put together of the celebration of the plays, and that was a fun time. So tell us, where you're from, how you started to get into the love of football, where you went on to play college ball,
Right.
And then how'd you get into coaching?
Well, I just, it's hard to describe. I just started loving football on my own. My dad didn't push me into it. My mama didn't push me into it. And actually, my mother was a music major from North Texas, which, if you know anything about that, that's a pretty big deal. And she was trying to push me a little bit towards music. But then anybody that tried to teach me anything about music was trying to push me away from music. So I ended up, with the football in my hand, just loved it and was pretty good at it. And graduated from high school and had a great high school career. Went to the University of Texas at Arlington, and when they still had a football team, played there, and then ended up being a student coach at Howard Payne University, where I actually graduated. So that's where it all got started, and here we are later on in life.
Now, do you have any musical talents to this day?
I really don't. I really don't. There's no use lying in front of God and everybody.
You're not going to break out in a tune in the team and sing to them?
Well, that would really hurt our morale, plus enrollment of the school probably would drop quite a bit. So we're not going to do that.
The only thing you'll sing is the fight song, right?
I'll sing that now. I'll sing that every time.
Because you can sing with everybody else and make it all sound kind of good.
Yeah, right.
When you get 100 football players together,
it's
not going to be harmony singing.
No, it's not. It's going to be a tough deal. It's going to be a hard gig to do, but I will do that.
Well, that's good. So now you've been here. You've been on Coach Ergel's staff. You had 1 year under Coach Walden, and now you're the head coach. What do you plan on continue carrying over that's been started here the last 4 years?
Basically, the same thing we've done. There's a huge emphasis on academics. There's a huge emphasis on character building, and obviously we want to win. And really, that's where it is with college sports, as far as I'm concerned.
And the part of it of building the men of character, what are you going to continue to do to do that, to develop the players here?
Many things. We'll have weekly devotions before games. I'm going to talk to them every time I get a chance, just about life, and then tie God and Christ into it. And then we'll have situations where we have players share with the team. There'll be situations where I talk to them before every practice. I just have a word for the day that I'll just throw character in there along with Christ-centered teaching. I'm going to really push Fellowship of Christian Athletes. I think that's an incredible organization that's withstood the test of time, and then whenever there's a God moment or a teachable moment, I'm going to take advantage of that. And there's plenty of those things coming up. And you're always going to get a one-on-one situation with it,
right,
with a young man or a coach, to where you can say, hey, look, let's do this better, or hey, good job, or whatever.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about this offense. If you've been a part of 2 really strong, fast-paced offenses with the air raid with Hal Money, and now the what do we call it, the RPO offense with Scotty. Combine both of those. What's this offense going to be looking like? We put out a clip yesterday, just to put up on social media that says, no, we're not going to snap the ball in 12 seconds. We're going to snap the ball in 10 seconds. So kind of tell us a little bit about what you plan to do with the offense.
Well, I want to continue what we have been doing, and then where I see a situation that I feel like we can improve. It's like my wife says, the biggest room in the world is the room for improvement. So there's always something you can do better. So what we've been doing since I've had this job, and really before I had this job, Scotty and I spent some time with our offensive staff and talked a lot about enhancing every area of our game offensively, whether it's a block here or a block there, or a better pass route, or more timing by quarterback and running back on a mesh. Just all these little things that you can do to even make this thing better.
Right. And you've got a lot of strong talent coming back in that offense. Are you excited to see everybody that's coming back to kind of keep it growing?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Somehow, better players seem to make me smarter. I don't know. That seems to be a
You're supposed to surround yourself with great people.
I understand that, and we're trying to do that. So there is a correlation between coaching intelligence and player personnel. So I'm excited about our guys, and we've got a tremendous group of core guys and a great freshman class coming in.
Yeah, that was my next question. Is I was there on the commitment day with you and Scotty in the morning, and some of these guys that you saw coming in, you said out of all your years that you've been coaching, this is probably one of the largest and best recruiting classes you have seen.
Yeah, there's no question. Of course, when you're in D1, you've got incredible talent that you're bringing in. But as far as everything being relative, I've never seen anything like this as far as quality and quantity as far as a mix.
Uh-huh.
And I remember you being in the room when one particular recruit gave us a ring, and quite frankly, we didn't know that was happening. We didn't know that was coming. We felt like it might, but it was one of those really good surprises. Sometimes you have those bad surprises.
Right.
This was one of those really good surprises. So it was a mind boggler. Scotty wanted a chest bump, but I couldn't get off the ground, so we just ended up high fiving.
So you're not going to be jumping a whole lot on the sidelines?
No. It's going to be a little bit different pace. But I'll be jogging, and I'll be running in my heart. But it'll probably look more like a jog.
So you'll move down from the box to the field, I would assume.
Right.
And be on the field and kind of be the general down there this next year.
Exactly.
Now you open up spring ball next week with the practices. Are you excited to get out there and get these guys out there and start learning some more of the game plan for next year?
Oh yeah, you're always ready for that first workout, and I love being a head coach. But there's a lot of administrative work, there's a lot of paperwork. But when you first get the job and everything, you're excited and all that. Then you kind of get into the situation where the honeymoon's over, and let's get into the grind of it. And it'll be really good to get out on that field, because that's why you got in the game, to get on that field and work between those sidelines.
Yeah. We're looking forward to next year already, because it's exciting to see what you have. And you also added a new member to your coaching staff. Kyle Coates is the new defensive coordinator, come from Hardin-Simmons, who had a very strong defense. He was one of the assistant coaches over there, I think secondary defensive backs, coming over to be a head coach or as the defensive coordinator here. Talk a little about him and bring him over to run this defense.
Well, he's one of the most intelligent people you'll ever run into, and he's very, very articulate. And more than that, he knows who he is and what he wants to do. And they were very successful at Hardin-Simmons, very successful defensively at Hardin-Simmons. And they have a way of shutting people down to where you can contain an offense both as far as the running game and the passing game is concerned, because they've got a good mix of secondary correlated with front coverage play. So it's a good situation for us.
Yeah, I'm excited. I haven't met him yet. I'm going to meet him tomorrow, because we're going to introduce and help Coach Highsmith here with Twitter, so we can get the Twitter followers going tomorrow.
Listen, I'm going to do it, man.
And we'll figure out how to do that and get him on there. So Curtis Smith, ready to get this started with Drew Smith. Oh, that's probably his dad. Yeah, hopefully we continue to be the number one offense in the nation. So thanks for piping in. We got some people up here on Facebook Live today, so you can say hi to them.
What's going on, everybody? How you doing?
So, Coach, that's about it for us from here today. We covered a lot of ground, and one last question: how exciting was it that being in that room on that Wednesday, that the team didn't know who the head coach was, and then when Dr. Blackburn announced it, hearing everybody cheer like that?
I made it all worth it, and my heart was beating, and I was ready to go, and when the kids gave that affirmation, it energized me tremendously.
You knew it was the right choice and the right time for all that.
I really felt like it was.
Yeah.
I did.
Well, Coach, thanks. It's been fun.
Man.
We're looking forward to it, and continuing the tradition of growing this program and making it the best it can be.
Me too.
All right, Coach. Thanks a lot. I think we got Coach Bramlett out.